Hey there, friend, and welcome to another episode of the God Empowered Podcast. Today, we're going to be diving into something that honestly, I think all of us struggle with, whether you're an entrepreneur, you're a work from home mama, or maybe you work a full-time job, part-time job. I think that this is just something every human being struggles with. And because we live in a world that thrives off of hustle mode, and we're constantly being fed media around this idea of go, 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 we struggle in trying to find a consistent, sustainable balance between work and our life. And that's why I wanted to create an episode talking about that, because I know that that's a frequent phrase that we see a lot. Work-life balance, find a healthy work-life balance. It's important, yada, yada, yada. But I question how many of us are actually not just implementing a healthy work-life balance, but how many of us are actually consistent with it? Like, how many of us are able to sustain it? How many of us are able to create the kind of mindset that allows our brain to truly believe that it is okay to have a work-life balance? Because I don't know about you, but my brain does not believe that. Like it's hard for me to train my brain that having a healthy balance between work and my life is okay. In other words, it's hard to train my brain not to be a workaholic. And it's probably a mixture of, what the media tells us and, hustle mode, but also just when you're a natural go-getter, you're always determined, or you just have a goal set in your mind. It's really difficult to try to train your brain like, hey, life matters too. Your health matters too. Your family matters too. There are so many other important things that matter. And above all of that, God matters above all of that. So I want to talk about it. And instead of giving like tips or maybe some strategy that we normally talk about in these episodes, I want to just give some reminders. And it's my hope that as I mention each reminder, when it comes to setting a healthy work-life balance, my hope is that it brings you like the sense of relief, this sense of, okay, it's okay. It's okay. And my hope is that these reminders can come with you throughout the rest of this week, this month, this year, and the following years after that, so that you're constantly remembering the fact that it is okay to have a healthy work-life balance, as long as you train your brain to believe that certain areas or certain habits are okay in order for you to have that healthy work-life balance. So let's dive into it. First reminder, it is okay to set boundaries. It is okay to set boundaries and be consistent with those boundaries. I think a lot of times I find that we will set boundaries and we're like, okay, yeah, we locked these in. We're going to stick to it. It's going to be great. But then we allow certain things in our lives to tear down that boundary wall that we put up for the entire purpose of protecting our peace, protecting our health, protecting our faith, things like that. And it might be things that seem so innocent, like, oh, I can't have this boundary in place today because this came up. Or, oh, you know what? I don't need to prioritize this boundary today because I just got to focus on this right now. And those things can seem so innocent, but behind the scenes, internally, what your brain is doing is accepting that it is okay to take down that boundary wall way more than you had initially planned. And then you find yourself burning out more. You find yourself overwhelmed more. You find yourself decreasing in faith more often because you didn't have that boundary that you dedicated yourself to sticking to no matter what. Now, let me clarify. It's one thing to have a conversation with God, and maybe God is like, hey, I need you to take down that boundary because you thought it was protecting you, and in actuality, it's hurting you. That is a conversation between you and God. However, a lot of times we end up making excuses as to why we take boundaries down that honestly should be there in the first place. I'm going to give an example. One boundary that I currently have in my business is that I do not take meetings on Mondays. And I found myself over the past few months kind of letting that slide a bit. Like, oh, well, such and such can only do Monday. So let me try to slot them in. Or, oh, I'm going to be out of office on Tuesday, so I might as well open up my calendar on Monday to have these meetings. And I discovered that it's not that that's a wrong choice. It's just that not having meetings on Mondays was more than a preference. That was a safe space for me. That was a boundary that I set up for me so that I could spend time on Mondays focusing, being productive without having to be on camera. I could tune more into what God was saying in my quiet time throughout my workday, rather than my mind being so consumed by meetings all day. And I realized that the effects of me having a meeting on Monday, because I took down that boundary, it affected the rest of my week. It affected my Tuesday productivity and every day after that, because I didn't give myself that safe, creative, quiet space that me personally needed. And why? Why was that? It was because I was prioritizing work. I was prioritizing opportunity over my well-being and what I knew worked best for me. And that's just an example. For you, I want you to take that and I want you to think about that in your own life right now. Where are you currently taking down your safe boundaries? Where have you been letting that slide when you shouldn't be? Where have you been letting that not be as consistent? And therefore, burnout being caused, therefore, workaholism starting within you that you may not have even realized. It's okay to set boundaries, and it is okay to be consistent with them. Second reminder that I want to say, it is okay to walk, not run. In other words, drop the hustle culture. Drop the hustle mentality. I know that the world is screaming at you that that is the only way to success. I know that it is hard to not allow your mind to believe that you are running out of time, or to not allow your mind to believe that you are behind. And therefore, because you feel behind, you have to rush, and go. I know that it's so difficult to see beyond that, but I promise you, you are letting your mind control you when you think that way. You are letting your mind control you into this robotic fashion of being in hustle mode when your mind, body, and spirit were never designed to be in hustle mode all the time. Something that I've been asking myself more of these days is, how can I better match God's timing over my life versus my own? Because when it's my timing, I know I'm going to hustle. I know I'm going to go hard. I know I'm going to become a workaholic because my mind is telling me that I'm behind, or maybe I'm not doing good enough, or I need to rush and hurry up so that I can get to this goal. But in actuality, that is my timing. That more than likely is not God's timing for my life. It's okay to walk through the journey to get to that destination. It is okay to walk when you climb that hill rather than literally trying to run up it, and therefore you're out of breath. You're burnt out. You have to take way more frequent breaks than regular because you've been running up that hill that whole time. You forgot that it's okay to just walk through it. I am learning that when I walk and I don't run, I actually get more done in less time because my brain is more focused, my brain is more calm, my brain is more at peace. And when it is in that stage, I'm able to produce better productivity. I am finding that doors are opening naturally rather than them being forced open because I'm just trying to hustle my way through everything. It is okay to walk. Third reminder that I want to give you in order to help you find that healthy, consistent, sustainable work-life balance. It is okay to say no. I am sure that you probably struggle with people-pleasing to some extent. Whether it's people-pleasing your boss so that you feel worth it, people-pleasing your clients, your customers, your students within your current business so that you feel like you are the expert or the authority that they see. People-pleasing friends and family members just for the purpose of everyone liking you because you're afraid of what people will think if you say no to things. I think a lot of times we don't realize that we're burnt out because we're just simply saying yes to too many things and we don't know any better. So I just encourage you to reflect on, what am I saying yes to right now that I don't need to? What am I saying yes to right now that God never really intended for me to say yes to? I'll give you an example here as well. I used to say yes to every client opportunity that came my way. Anyone that was wanting my services or was inquiring about something within my business, 99.9% of the time, I was saying yes to that opportunity. Why? Back then, a part of it was because I was desperate, right? I was trying to grow a business. I was in hustle mode. But the other side of it, the other part of it was that I just was a people pleaser. I wanted people to like me, to be pleased by the services that I had in my business, to see that I was efficient, I was smart, I was one of the best at what it was that I do. And then I finally came to the point, it wasn't until I burnt out that I came to the point of being like, why am I saying yes to all these things? Like, do I even like this kind of work? Do I really want to continue down this route? And that's what you need to reflect on. I know a lot of times we say yes to opportunities all the time because we're just looking for income. We're just looking for experience. We're just looking for people to like us. I understand. I get it. But you have to ask yourself, is saying yes to this something that I truly care about? Is saying yes to this, even though it might give me money, does it align with my values? Does it match my integrity? Is saying yes to this going to cause me to burn out? These are questions you got to ask. You don't have to say yes to everything. It is okay. It is okay. Next reminder for you. It's okay to adjust. Something that I found that I struggle with as an entrepreneur is this constant need to get everything done on time. And it's because I'm holding myself accountable in getting done what I said I was going to get done. Now, yes, you should get done what you said you were going to get done. You should effectively plan for it. However, you should not downplay, feel bad, or feel disappointed, or feel anxious or overwhelmed within yourself if you're not able to get it done for specific reasons. If you need to adjust it. For example, you getting sick, something happening within your family that needs to be prioritized. Maybe you just find yourself needing a vacation day. Whatever that is, be okay with adjusting. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I know for me, I have had the habit of getting so anxious if I have to adjust to timeline. Like, if I'm like, oh, this thing was supposed to be done last Friday, but I had to push it to this week because I was sick or I had this happen that was unexpected. And I found that I would just get so anxious about that pushed off date because my mind would start thinking, well, great, now I'm even more behind. Great job, Angel. Look what you did. Now you're even more behind. But that's a lie. That is a lie. Sure, it got pushed back a few days. But what mattered at the time was my health because I was sick, right? So my health needed to be prioritized over those items that needed to be done on that day. And therefore, I should be okay making that adjustment. So if you find yourself needing to make adjustments, but then you find that the action of making that adjustment is followed by this feeling of anxiety or overwhelm, or maybe just this feeling of, oh, I'm even more behind now. Reflect on that. Train your brain. Tell your brain, remind your brain that it is okay to adjust. And go back to the other reminders that I mentioned. Things like, it's okay to adjust because you don't need to run. You can walk. It's okay to adjust because you don't need to be so in depth in hustle culture all the time. It is okay. It's okay. Let your life during those moments take precedence over your work, over your business, over your to-do list during those times. It is okay to adjust. last reminder that I want to tell you that I honestly believe can help train your mind to sustain a true, genuine, healthy work-life balance. It is okay to take care of other things that matter to you. It is okay that work does not come first, that your business does not come first. First and foremost, God should always come first above everything. But you know what else should come after that? Family, relationship, things that you genuinely enjoy as a human being before your work self comes into play. I think we get that confused a lot. A lot of times it's God, family, our work, and then us. But a lot of times I wonder, what would it be like to switch the last two? God, family, me, and then work. You know? Like, what does it look like for me to pour more genuine time into self-care, into remembering that my health, my physical health, my spiritual health, my mental wellness is important and it matters. And I'm going to focus and double down in those areas just as much, if not more, than the work side of me. Now, I think that this is the hardest one to do because as human beings, we're trained since birth to be in survival mode within this world. If you don't work, you might not have a house. If you don't get a job, you're not going to have food to eat. If you don't provide for your family, then there's many bad things that could happen. Like we are built off of survival mode. Like this world has trained us to be in survival mode more often than we think. And I believe our human brain believes that to be normal, when in actuality, it can cause us to be workaholics, to where our entire identity is wrapped up in our work and our achievements and what we do, rather than just who we are, rather than just being the person that God created us to be, enjoying the things that we enjoy outside of our work stuff. It is okay to focus on other things that matter too. I had this thought the other day where I was like, I have such a busy day. I have to do X, Y, Z and get all this stuff done. And I was just so in my head about work. And I looked around my home and I was like, dang, the living room is a mess. The dishes are not done. I did not meal prep yet. And it clicked where I was just like, I cannot expect to steward my work well and not steward my home just as well, if not better. Like if God expects us to steward the things that He gave us, that does not just mean the opportunities, the jobs, the money. That doesn't just mean that stuff. It also means stewarding the other things He gave you, stewarding your home well, stewarding your relationships well, stewarding your family well, stewarding yourself and how you care for yourself well. And ever since then, I have been 100% okay with taking time to meal prep, doing the dishes and, taking care of my home, taking care of family things first before I dive into all this work stuff, creative project stuff, business stuff. I've been okay with that rather than dreading it as like boring tasks or boring errands. I'm just like, you know what? No, this is a part of my life. This is what God blessed me to steward, and I'm going to enjoy this process. And even beyond that, like if you love to travel, make a plan for that. If you love playing volleyball, if you love playing a sport, if you enjoy whatever it might be, it's okay to bring that in. It's okay to accommodate that within your life, rather than just allowing work to control your life and therefore take precedence of it. At the end of the day, my friend, just know that it is okay. A healthy work-life balance is absolutely attainable as long as you learn to remind your brain that it is okay. It is okay to set boundaries. It is okay to walk and not run. It is okay to say no. It is okay to adjust your schedule when unexpected things come up. And it is okay to prioritize and to take care of other things that matter to you outside of your work, outside of your business, outside of your creative projects to get to the dream that you're so desperately trying to get to. My friend, it is okay. As I mentioned, my hope for you in this episode was just to bring you this sense of relief. It's okay. You're not behind. You are enough. It is okay. You will be okay. In this life, God has so much more to offer us than us just accepting becoming workaholics and just deeming that as something that we just got to live by because we live in this world and we're just running off of survival mode here. There's more for you. And I don't mean more externally. I'm just talking about more when it comes to peace, more when it comes to joy, more when it comes to falling back in love with the life that God gave you, rather than just being so burnt out by it because you're trapped in the hustle mode. I'm in this journey with you, friend. Like, I am on a journey to have a consistent, healthy work-life balance. And ever since I've been telling myself these reminders, man, it's been helping. Burnout becomes less and less of a possibility. And honestly, as I've been doing this, more opportunities have come. Success comes because I'm not so obsessed with the work stuff. I'm doing what I feel like God is calling me to do when it comes to the work, but I'm also enjoying this life. I'm also stewarding the other things that He gave me too, and I'm stewarding them well. And I know that you can achieve the exact same thing. Thanks so much for watching this, my friend. So much love for you, and we look forward to seeing you in the next God Empowered podcast episode.